So at the start of every ride, I like to walk about 2 laps around the arena and just let Goose stretch down and loosen up his muscles. He tends to get a little bit excited at the beginning of our ride, so if you see me lifting up my hands, I'm just making sure that he doesn't start playing. Here I've moved up to the jog, and I go ahead and just let him do a nice, easy, slow jog at the beginning of our ride so that he can continue to loosen up. As you can see, he's playing there, so I just lift his head up and ensure that he's focusing on work. And I just let him kind of jog out until he's ready to move up into a more collected and impulsion-driven jog. Here I'm going ahead and moving him up into a bit of a faster jog, one that's a little more ground covering, and soon I will move into a posting trot, ask him to move out a little bit more. Here he's trying to play again, so I'm just trying to keep him focused, and he does very well moving up into this jog. I'm just working on getting him to stretch down and around himself, making sure his legs are underneath him, and working to continue loosening him up and getting his muscles warmed up. So here I'm just moving him into a circle. I'll just ask him to stretch and bend around and continue warming up in the trot. Here I'll go ahead and move around and change directions, changing his bend, asking him to continue the same speed and ground covering trot that I have been maneuvering around the arena with, and I will continue letting him stretch down. He's on a slight contact, maybe a little bit more tight than I would have liked for a Western pleasure class, but because we're warming up and this is more of a school, I'm totally fine with having 2 hands and making sure that he is tracking under himself and warming up well. So if you see me using 2 hands a lot and having a little bit of a tighter rein, that's simply because I'm schooling him today and we're not working on any finishing touches, just kind of going back to the basics and working on some fundamentals. After we finished our jog warm up, I will halt him in the middle of the arena and we'll do some flexions, and this really helps his right sides of muscles. Here we've moved up into our lope. As you can see, he's a little choppy, he's a little strung out, and I pretty much expect that for the first lap, half lap of our lope. The footing is a little bad on that side, so he tends to get choppy anyways, but basically, I will just use my hands and my legs to rock him back on his haunches, tip his haunches to the inside, and get him tracking under himself. To the left, he tends to kind of fall on his forehand a little bit more, be a little lazier in the back end. Here he was doing really well, and I just moved him into a circle, asked him to bend around my inside leg, which he did very well. and we're continuing to warm up, so I'm not expecting a whole bunch, but he's moved up into a smoother lope very nicely. Now on this second half of the arena, I move up to a half C and push him forward with my spur, asking him to lengthen his stride and extend out. He gets a little bit playful and excited there, so I just kind of bring him back with my rein. I'm staying really grounded in my heel and my leg to ensure that if he does throw in a little bit of a playful kick, I'm not thrown off balance. And then we went ahead and collected again and continued around the ring. I brought him down to a trot, and these transitions are really helpful for getting him rocked back on his haunches, and he did very well with that. Here I've moved him up to the right lead lope. He naturally carries himself a little better in this way of going, and so in this direction, he keeps his haunches a little more tipped into the inside, and he stays a little more square. However, he does tend to lean on that inside shoulder a little bit, so when you come on the straightaway, you'll see in a second here, he right there tries to dive in just a tad, so I correct him with my inside rein, push him out with my inside leg. Here I'm extending, asking him to open up his stride, and on the long side he gets a little excited, but nothing too crazy. He just is ready to go. It was very cold that day, so he was a little amped up anyways, but he's looking really good, stretching over his top line, using his shoulders and his hips well. So he looks very good right there. We're still warming up, so he's still trying to get loosened up just a bit. Here you can see from my eyes I'm planning to change directions, so I set him up well, ask for the lead change, and he performs it really well, which I was very happy with. After the lead change, I kind of forgot to sit him back on his haunches, so he gets a little choppy, but I just moved him down to a walk to have him sit back and transition, which he did very nicely. Here I am working on some haunch turns. This haunch turn to the right was very nice. He stuck his pivot foot and ensured that he was moving in a forward motion. My second haunch turn to the left, as you'll see right here, is not as good. He took a backward step right there. Right here I should have pushed up, and I didn't, so he took 2 backward steps. I pushed up there, but he took a sideways step, and then at the end he finished nicely. To end my ride, I went ahead and worked on a little bit of some pleasure movements. So I have him on a fairly relaxed rein, and I'm just asking him to really track under himself and have good self-carriage. He's doing really well and looking really nice here. I went ahead and transitioned him down so that I could change directions. And here, going to the right, he tripped a little there, but he's looking really good. He's tracking under himself really nicely. I went ahead and adjusted my rein. It was a little shorter on one side. And as he comes across here, he's looking super nice and carrying himself really well, making my job really easy. So I was very thankful for that. Coming across this short side, I went ahead and finished up, brought him back down to a walk. He transitioned very nicely.